Utilities Commission meeting to order. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the Utilities Commission meeting of July 20th, 2015.
I'll move that with minutes as submitted be approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show that we unanimously approve the minutes. Our second order of business is to report the operating funds on hand in the Utilities Commission. Total cash on hand comes to $684,072.87. Also in our capital funds for water and sewer hookup, we have $495,400. Our third order of business under the Utilities Commission is the payment of the bills.
Move that the bills be paid as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show we unanimously paid the bills for the Utilities
I
Commission.
had a question about the capital funds on hand. Bob, they went up by a healthy amount, like more, 50% more.
The new dorm at the college.
Oh, that was what he referred to last week. Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure it was that recent. Okay,
And
great.
will the new academic building be reflected in that, or is it already reflected in that?
The new academic building will probably only have fees for the sprinkler, because it's the only addition.
I see.
They kept the EDUs from the old building.
Gotcha.
And the fixture count in the new building is actually less. And they're not meant to, be operating funds. They're intended to, once, like if somebody has a house in Chestertown and they have that allocation and the house burns down and they rebuild, they don't have to pay that allocation.
I see. Okay.
And when you say the new dorm, we mean the one that's going to be built there on that same property? Is that the one you're referring to?
It's gonna be built up where the tennis courts are at off of 291.
On the campus, not on the
Oh, okay.
university.
Because there's going to be another building
Behind the cross.
on that property on Washington Avenue.
And when that's built, we're gonna revisit the allocations.
Okay.
We know how many fixtures were there before. If they don't exceed those fixtures, then there won't be any allocations that are due. If they do, it'll be just on the portion that they exceed.
If it's a dorm, they will.
The old one.
It's not a dorm though.
Oh, I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be another dorm.
So when you say fixtures, do you consider like faucets and shower heads
Toilets.
the same type of fixture, or do you differentiate?
There is a differentiation. It depends on the type of use the building is. If it's a building that, for instance, a hospital, we base those EDUs on the number of beds. If it's a dorm, the number of housing units or rooms, that how many students it'll house. If it is a warehouse, it's based on the square feet of the warehouse. On something like an office building, it's typically based on the fixture count.
Okay, that moves us right into your report, Bob Sipes.
And that was all I had. We got the 2 new generators a while back. One of the generators, the one on 291, is in and operating. We were working on getting the one in over at Radcliffe, bigger generator, little bit more complicated to get it in. Danny is working on it. We had to do some clarifier repairs while I was out on vacation. The clarifiers started breaking. We have them running again. They did not impact the quality of the effluent from the plant, but we are getting those back to 100%. An update on the hospital oil spill. You may be up to date already. What we're asking for is financial reassurance before they proceed. The attorney has been talking to the hospital and MDE about that, trying to secure that for us. He's meeting with limited success. There is a ray of hope, but to my knowledge, what we have right now is MDE intends to give the hospital that notice to proceed. And once that notice to proceed is issued, we will only have a 5-day warning. So we will get a heads up that we're going to issue this notice to proceed effective this date. So we need to give some thought to what we want to do, if we want to do anything. to keep that from going through until we're comfortable. And like I stated at the last meeting, I still don't have a level of comfort with it. There are a lot of things that could go wrong. Most of our recommendations have not been taken into account. And our attorney, who was also with the EPA, shares those concerns. I think they're well-founded, and even MDE could not refute those concerns when we had that public meeting. So I do think it's something to look seriously at. I know it is not a very attractive thing to have to get an injunction or take any kind of legal action. And that would be up to you. I'm just saying now is probably the time to give it serious thought. Do we want to let them proceed as this was proposed? Or do we want to try to stop that from happening?
This is so far out of my purview that I don't even feel comfortable. I don't even know what goes into it. Like, how do you get an injunction? What would it cost us? Legal fees? What legal grounds do we have to do that? I don't know. I feel like we should hire. I guess we've already hired a consultant, but I just don't know anything about this. Like, this is not my field. So,
Have we had the courtesy of a reply to our letter of July 27th from the secretary that, Secretary Grumbles?
There has been a conversation with Secretary Grumbles and with our attorney. I do not know that that was an official conversation. I have not seen a response. If there is one, I'll look through my emails again.
I think Bill would have forwarded it to us.
I think the council's concerns and the citizens of Chestertown are on record. If they do go on and there is something that happens, I think we'll probably end up owning a hospital. I mean, I don't know how they can defend their actions after we've already told them that we don't think you're doing the right thing at this point.
that's the thing that I brought up at the hearing, which is the hospital can defend their actions by saying, well, MDE said it was okay. MDE is going to say, well, the hospital came up with this plan and we thought it sounded reasonable. And that's what concerns me, is I feel like they're both pointing at each other and we're like the people left holding the bag if something goes wrong.
Well,
That's a really obnoxious ring.
It was silent, so I did not include text messages. And my daughter just went away to college yesterday. I apologize.
So what was this ray of hope when it comes to the reassurance that the attorney's trying to get us?
From speaking to the attorney, he thinks that MDE may actually take some action to provide a financial,
safety net.
Security?
kind of a safety net, but it doesn't have all four poles anchored firmly in the ground. It would not cover the entire cost that we may be impacted by. It would cover a small portion of that.
Is there any precedent of this happening before, MDE covering the cost of any type of liability any other jurisdiction was taking on?
No, what you generally see is when there is a case of groundwater contamination, MDE comes in and makes the people responsible for it do everything necessary to protect the drinking water supply. And over in, I think it was Harford County, in the Kingsville area, there was a gas station that had a leak. And MDE came in and made them actually provide each individual homeowner with a filtration system that could remove the contaminant. So I don't know why it's coming up now that, no, we don't have that authority to make sure that, you know, this is in place. And I don't know if it's actually true or not. The EPA website would lead you to believe that that's not true, that there is precedent for having a regulatory body say, if you proceed in this course of action, you need to set aside
Right.
X. for potential damages. And again, we're not asking the hospital to give us anything right now. All we're asking is that you provide a bond or a surety that if something happens, we don't have to spend months and months dragging this out before we can get it fixed. We can start.
They've already cost us lots of money. I mean, our lawyer fees we haven't recovered any of those. They've been paid out of the taxpayers' pockets.
I think we're over $100,000 when you consider attorney fees, consulting fees, the additional testing, and time. It's really racking up to be quite an expense. And it's not over. The big concern though is what will be the expense if, not even worst case scenario, but if there is a release, and it would not have to be to the scale of the contamination that's on site at the hospital to condemn the well field. It would only take a small fraction of that to condemn the well field. And then above that, even if the release sends contaminants into that well field, we still need to notify the residents, even if it's at a low, what would be considered a low level. If something new shows up in the drinking water, we still have the responsibility to notify all the 10 residents.
And is there no type of filtration system that we can install on our well if it gets to that point, or do we have to completely dig a new site?
What it would take, and I checked into this back when we had the MTBE problem a couple years back. Each individual well would have to have a activated carbon filtration system put in, or granulated activated. And what that is very similar to coal in a large vat in a tank that can absorb the VOCs and petroleum products and filter it out of the water. Each individual well would have to have its own carbon filter. They go for about, I hesitate to throw numbers around because these are old numbers, but you're talking in excess of $150,000 per well. But that's not the expensive part, because you have to have that carbon removed, because all it does is absorb. It doesn't break it down, it simply absorbs it. So then every month or so, you have to have a company come in, remove all that carbon, put in new carbon, and take your carbon back to the furnace and burn off all the VOCs. So you're into it for the cost of the filters, the cost of 2 sets of media, and then the charge for them to perform the function on all 6 of the wells.
So that's not sustainable then?
I don't think that's sustainable. It may be sustainable short term if we had to do something immediately, and we don't have the time to relocate the site. It would be something that could be effective to get us back up and running in the shortest amount of time. But the long-term cost, it would certainly impact water rates in Chestertown.
I mean, if you're asking us to consider an injunction, we can't even ask for an injunction until the approval is given to move forward, so,
Probably not.
I mean,
Mayor, I'm not asking you to seek an injunction right now. All I'm saying is it's time to give thought to it.
Maybe we need to meet in executive session at some point with our consulting lawyer on this
Because-
issue. Discuss options with him.
Because what we're getting back right now is that it's going to proceed as it was presented. That's the last that I've heard. The attorney is still trying to get something, but right now, he has nothing. So, no, I'm not asking you now to vote on that, let's go out and do this. I'm just saying we have to give some thought to what the options are. And there are other options between do nothing and get an injunction.
well, the reason I bring that up is because what I get as the mayor is I get people out in public saying, you need to be seeking an injunction for this right now, and I guess what I'm saying on the record is, that's not something I can even do until we know for sure that they're moving forward with the plan.
And I wouldn't recommend that right now. That would be completely premature, and very embarrassing if we were to do that and then they come back with a financial reassurance.
Yeah.
And right now, what we do know is the plan right now is to move forward with the plan as it was proposed.
Did, this filter on each pump, how many wells do we have that would be affected?
6.
Did the hospital ever consider that, putting filters on the wells, and what are they paying now, $50,000 a year?
No, I think it's 6 figures.
What, my understanding, the hospital wants this closed out. They're not interested, there are other different treatment technologies that are out there, but what they're saying is that the treatment, and I hope I don't mischaracterize this, but I've seen it written down enough. What they're saying is that the limits of the existing technology that they have is not able to recover enough oil to make it a worthwhile endeavor. So what they're seeking to do, they're saying all the liquid oil is gone and they want the site closed out. I'm saying, and our lawyer and our consultant is, and EPA is saying, is no, just because you've pumped out 83,000 gallons doesn't mean there's not any more there. It means there's at least that much more there. It's just not flowing like that free oil did. It's bound up in the soils, or it's just not in the preferential flow path to the well. It could actually be sitting in a puddle under the hospital. We don't know that because there are places on the site that nobody has looked.
So currently, we need to just keep trying to get the assurances that we've requested.
Yes, our lawyer is working on that now. And that is all I have.
Well, when we met with MDE, and they said when the hospital presents their plan, MDE would either accept it or make suggestions for revisions. Have they reached that point yet?
We're past that point. The hospital, what MDE told us at the meeting is that they were going to approve the plan as presented. They had just requested additional information from the hospital, but they weren't looking to modify that plan. They were just looking to get more information from the hospital before they gave them that notice to proceed.
And I hate to say this, but this has been presented to me by the public too. Who do you think has more pull with the state of Maryland, University of Maryland Medical System or Chestertown? I mean,
Rhetorical question.
you know, it's,
Yes.
I've had people ask me that. In
Yes.
reality, who do you think's gonna have more pull?
And that goes to the question Mr. Shogi had. It's the options and the situation that we find ourselves in. They have not been dictated. We have been responding the entire time. When the hospital bought that property knowing the condition of the site, but immediately started all the procedures for closing it out. No sooner they bought it, that year, they had a plan in place to start closing it out. So, yes, there's a relationship between state agencies. I don't know how intertwined these two state agencies are, and I would not say that it's a conspiracy, but state agencies typically don't have confrontational relationships. They try to help each other out as much as they can. Not necessarily with any kind of intent to cause harm to third parties, but it's that relationship that they're focused on, and maybe not that, the underlying issues that they have to confront. Similar to the town. If there's a problem in town, the roads department and the utilities department, we will work together to solve that kind of problem. And I think that's kind of what we have here. I don't think it's sinister. I think it's just two state agencies trying to cooperate with each other so much that at least one of them has lost sight of what their stated purpose is. And in this case, that stated purpose is to protect that public drinking water source.
Can I change the subject? If you're done on that.
Yeah, I think so.
When I reread the minutes of our last meeting, we were still waiting for action from Delmarva Power to hook up the solar power array. And I'm wondering why that still hasn't happened. And, you know, thinking about it and being one of the persons who signs checks for the town, you know, I'd really like to stop signing such enormous checks to Delmarva Power. It's really not in their interests in some ways to have that thing hooked up. But we need to start saving that money that we were expecting to save. So.
I agree, because the utility budget was cut back, counting on.
That saving, and
Some
I
of
mean,
that.
the thing's been ready to be hooked up for a long time now.
Don't kid yourself, Delmarva's in the business of selling power.
Exactly, and we're gonna save, you know, 33% roughly, the minute that thing goes operational.
What is the process for getting that hooked up?
I'm not, that's why I'm asking Bob.
I wish I had a good answer for you, I don't. My understanding is the way that it works, you apply to Delmarva to put in something like this, and they come back and they tell you if they have a need for more
We
green
did all that,
energy.
yeah.
Because they have to fill a minimum.
Right, we got all that done
Spot.
before we started.
So, and then you move forward to proceed, you get your money and you have it built, or and you get it built, but then you have to apply to Delmarva to actually do the switch in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're waiting on.
That's right.
It has been applied for. I don't know if there's been a response. We didn't apply, but Solar City has applied for it.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been managing the entire project very well. They put that system in very quick. But my understanding is they're still waiting for Delmarva to come back and say, yeah, let's do this.
It took a few weeks to get ours on, and they said anywhere from like 7 to 14 weeks for them to actually make the appropriate connection to start gathering energy.
It's
So
been at least the lesser number of weeks already.
yeah.
I'll check in with Bill.
Mm.
Okay.
What is this item, academic resources bill utilities?
We got that letter today. We all got that letter today in the email.
What is the academic resource bill?
The new building.
The new building on Washington Avenue, the utilities, I think that, they wanna start to put the lines in.
Night work.
I do recall an email.
I've got the, yeah. They want to do night work on Washington Avenue from 8 o'clock to 5 a.m. from about 10 days, starting on the 14th of September. I think isn't it just for information?
I've talked to the contractor about that, and yes, they wanted to do it a little bit earlier, starting at around 7.
Mm-hmm.
But as State Highways has been wanting to do lately, they said no, you can't do it then, you have to move your time back, but they only moved it back to 8 o'clock. I don't know why they need 7 days to do this. That's the kind of work that you could typically get done in a day or two. You open up the street to the main, you put in your tap, you run off your pipe, you backfill, do the same thing with the sewer. And after you get the utilities in and the old ones abandoned, all you have to do is resurface. So Yeah, I'm sure there's a reason that I don't understand that it's gonna take 7 days, but I've been contacted, we're not actually doing any of the work. The
No.
contractor has, the college has hired the contractors, and they're taking care of all the work. All we're doing, I'm gonna show up for the tap, because anytime somebody cuts into the water main, I like to see it happening, and I wanna get the coupon when it comes out. The coupon is the part of the main that they remove, because you can look at that and gauge the depth and see what kind of wear you're getting on the mains.
You don't think they've applied for 7 days just to cover themselves to make sure that
Actually 10.
if they might be able to do it in 2 days or 3 days?
From talking to him, no, he actually, they believe this is gonna take a minimum of 4 to 5 days.
So it says they're gonna do like a one-lane traffic, one lane at a time.
Don't they have any backhoes? Are they gonna do it with a pick and shovel or?
I wish I could tell you.
Right.
Says-
We did, some small work in state highways, but we repaired it and we did everything we were supposed to do. I mean, my lord, when the main blew apart, I don't know how many people remember, between Queen Street and Cross Street, right on 213, the main blew apart. We had water coming up from one curve to the other curve. But even that repair, busting open a whole lot of concrete, we were done by, I think it was 8 o'clock the next morning. So the blacktopping took more time because we had to schedule for the blacktop, but even that only took a couple more hours. But I don't mean to second guess them. I'm sure they've given it a lot of thought and they're there to make money. There's got to be a reason. I can tell you that the water main is under concrete there, so there will be jackhammering, just like we had to do out here. It's about 12 to 16 inches of reinforced concrete that they're gonna have to go through to make the taps. That's gonna be very loud late at night.
Well, they're supposed to.
Well, yeah, it just says 3 hours, so if it starts at 8, it's 8 to 11?
No, it's from, the letter says 8
This-
PM to 5 AM, but you can
Well,
read the
this-
attached letter.
Yeah, but then this says
The
it will
noisiest
take
part.
about, just the noisiest part.
The
So,
noisiest
8
part
to
will
11.
be
The jacket.
the cutting and the jackhammering, to get down to the main.
I don't know.
The actual tap is
have to
actually
do it.
very quiet, very similar to a drill run. All you hear is a buzz. It usually goes without a hitch. We're making sure that the people that are doing the tap, I have their qualifications, and a list of their, references, and that they're qualified to do the tap. We usually only let B&K Utilities out of Severna Park or Bramble, people that we know can do the tap without messing it up, or we do it ourselves. But this company seems to have a lot of references, and we have quite a history.
All right, are there any other questions or comments
Yes.
for Bob? Okay, I'm gonna close the Utilities Commission meeting. Thank you.
So moved.
so moved. Second.
All those in favor of closing?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, I'm gonna call it 8 o'clock. I'm gonna commence the mayor and council meeting. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of the mayor and council meeting of August 3rd, 2015.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show, we unanimously approved the minutes. Our operating funds on hand. Total operating cash on hand for unrestricted use is $1,344,564.30. From the Washington College assigned donation, we have a balance of $192,740, which brings our total funds to $1,537,304.30. Our third order of business under the mayor and council meeting is payment of the bills.
Move that the bills be
Well,
paid as submitted.
I have a question here. Under elections, with financial administration and she's the temporary CPA that we have here.
Yes.
$4,145 under elections?
It's not under elections. That's the total for elections is above that. It's under financial administration.
No, I'm talking about right here.
I know, but that's the bottom of elections right here. That's the total for elections is the $25.
Oh, then it's
It says
financial.
financial administration. That's
This is confusing, the way this is written this time,
It's only 50% of
because, huh?
It's only 50% of it.
I'll see if,
It
maybe
needs
she
to,
can change
I
the way
even-
that she's doing,
Yeah,
because
Yeah, it
the
is-
I
lines are a
looked at
little bit
this a
too
couple
confusing.
times,
yeah, there shouldn't really be a blank line here, yeah.
Okay, I'll make a note and
I'll
I'll
go in
pass
and-
that along.
Does Kim design it?
Not sure if it's Kim or Amanda, but I will check.
It is a little hard to read.
Okay, just put a motion to pay the bills.
I moved already.
Yeah.
We're looking
Second.
for a
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? As the record show, we unanimously agree to pay the bills, which brings us to Amanda Summerfield of Washington College, partnering with the Bayside Boys for a tutoring and college prep program. Yeah, come tell us about the program.
All right. So my name is Dr. Amanda Sommerfeld. Thank you for letting me take a little bit of your time. I will try and be quick. But I wanted to tell you about a new college preparatory program for Kent County middle schoolers. It's called Hoya's CPIP, which stands for Helping Our Youth Achieve Success College Preparation Intervention Program. It's a mouthful. But it's a partnership between Washington College and the Bayside Hoyas, Kent County Middle School, and also SunTrust Bank. And it's funded by a grant through the Maryland Higher Education Commission. The program was started based on a need in Kent County, and that's a need for college preparation. So what recent data from Kent County Public Schools suggests is that although our youth are actually comparable to state averages in terms of their math and English and language arts skills, they're falling behind in terms of their plans for higher education. So to put numbers to that claim, about 52% of high school graduates in the state of Maryland claim that they are going to go on to a four-year college or university after graduating. In Kent County, that number is 36%. So we're 15% below state averages in that regard. So what Hoya's CPIP is trying to do is to bring together resources and folks from the community to build up the support structures that kids and caregivers need to believe that higher education is possible. So let me tell you a little bit about the program. So it is a 10-month college preparatory program that involves year-long programming and then ends in a 2-week summer camp. That will be in summer 2016. It is totally free, and transportation is provided for students to and from every program activity. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for kids to be involved. There are 4 objectives of the program: academic preparation, college and career readiness, leadership skills, and also caregiver development. So I'll tell you a little bit about all of those pieces really quickly. So the first piece is academic preparation. And as you guys, I'm sure all know, getting ready for college is not all about academics. It is a lot about academics, though. So we want to make sure the kids are supported as they're building up their academic skills. So we're going to do that through weekly academic tutoring by Washington College students using IXL software, which is a web-based tutoring software that's matched with Common Core state standards of math and English and language arts. Kids are going to be involved in 2 book clubs. They're going to get workshops on study skills and critical thinking, which are going to be done by experts in the fields. They're going to take educational trips throughout the year, and then during the 2-week summer camp, they're going to be taught daily by certified teachers on both math and English and language arts. The second part of the program is about college preparation. And that requires students to learn about college and to think about their careers so they can start planning for their futures. So the second objective is to build up that college and career readiness. And for middle schoolers, which is the population that we're targeting, that involves building up college expectations, It involves dispelling myths about who can go to college and how much it costs. And it also has them starting to explore their career interests so that they can think about the relationship between education and jobs. So in order to target that, they're going to be mentored by Washington College students and faculty members. They're going to take part in college preparation, financial aid, and career readiness workshops, again by experts in those fields. They're going to take part in tours and presentations by Washington College admissions personnel. They're going to visit 3 additional Maryland colleges, and then they'll have daily college and career readiness programming during the summer camp. The third piece we're doing is leadership skills. And leadership skills are being targeted for a very, very particular reason. And the reason for that is because when kids drop out of school, if that's at the high school level or at the college level, that is often not about academics. That is often about social and interpersonal issues. And so what we're trying to do is to build up kids' leadership abilities so that they're prepared to face some of the social emotional demands of higher education. And we're doing that through a ton of programming. So there's weekend team building trips throughout the school year. There's cultural trips to Washington, D.C. and Annapolis. There's community service opportunities. We are doing a community arts project in collaboration with Sandbox. And then there's also leadership skill development throughout the summer camp. And then we have one last piece, which is, in my mind, one of the most important pieces, which is about caregiver development. What the research tells us time and time again is that caregivers play this crucial role in the educational trajectories of youth. So if we want our kids to go to college, it's not enough for them to have high college aspirations. Their caregivers and their parents, they have to buy into that idea as well. So what Hoya CPIP is trying to do is to make sure that caregivers have both the information and the resources that they need to support their students moving forward. Frankly, there's a lot of misinformation about college out there, about the accessibility of college, the affordability of college, and frankly, whether or not it's worth it, which I would argue it totally is. One of the issues we run into is that if you're a caregiver who either didn't go to college yourself or went a while ago, you just might not know about the financial aid opportunities that are out there or about the steps that your students need to take. So the last piece of the puzzle is to make sure that the caregivers have that information that they need. So there's 4 chunks of the program. We are trying to serve 60 students, 36th graders and 37th graders. To be eligible for the program, students have to be enrolled in Kent County Middle School, and we are giving priority to free and reduced meals eligible students. So they'll get priority registration. We've gotten a bunch of applications, which is great, but we still have slots that are available. So spread the word as necessary. We have a great website, hoyacpip.org, and there's tons of information about the program. People can apply right there online. They can also call me directly if they're interested. So that is the scoop. Happy to answer questions if you have any. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a pedagogical reason for focusing on middle school students rather than high school. Yeah, I'd like to know what that is, but then if you're targeting these middle school students, isn't there a need for follow-up in their high school career, and how is that going to happen?
Yeah. So I'll answer the pedagogical question first. Yes, there's a very clear pedagogical reason for targeting middle schoolers, and that is because honestly, if students aren't thinking about college until high school, it is too late, because they are already started on a trajectory once they step foot in a high school in 9th grade. And so we want kids to be setting expectations for themselves early on so that they're actually prepared to start rolling right in high school. What all of the literature suggests is that early intervention is key when it comes to college preparation, especially because the single greatest predictor of whether or not kids graduate from college is whether or not they expect themselves to do it. And if you've been getting messages through middle school that it's not something you have to think about, if you're rolling into high school without those expectations, it's hard to catch up. So that's the first part. Second part, yes, so there has to be follow-up, and I can tell you my vision. And the vision is that this is going to be a program that is going to continue and hopefully carry students from 6th grade all the way through 12th grade.
Great.
I do not have the funding for that yet, but I'm going to get the funding for that. And so what that would hopefully look like, so we'll add a new 6th grade class every year. And as the kids get into high school, the program will obviously look a little bit differently and be much more hands-on.
You probably hit on this. This is no cost to the student.
No cost to the students at
Yeah,
all.
I think it's important to start young. I know when I first started college, and they actually expect me to do the readings, which I never did when I was in high school. I read the first 2 or 3 chapters and the last 2 or 3 chapters and conned my way through the classes. But
Yeah, I would like to believe that my students don't do that. I fear that they do exactly.
I have my
what you
own
say.
Cliff Notes way of doing it.
Right, exactly. Just hit on the bullet point.
So you're an employee of the college.
I am, and I'm an assistant professor.
And
of
it sounds like the
psychology.
college is doing a lot in this program. What is the role of the Hoyas? Are they helping deliver kids for you guys, and are they going to be helping? I mean, I've met those guys and they're awesome. Just,
Yeah,
I'd love
they,
to learn more about their role.
they are great, and they would be here, but Paul got
Yeah.
married on Saturday, and so he's
That's
on his
big.
honeymoon, and
That's big.
Pierre's working. So they've been involved in this from the very, very start. I'm on the board of the Hoyas, and in addition to that, have just been working with them from day one. So this is a shared vision of really those guys trying to meet needs in the community and figuring out what the college has a lot of, which is, a lot of knowledge about college admissions and sort of people like me who do research in these areas. So what they are primarily doing is, like, what we are tapping into in the Hoyas is they have amazing mentorship abilities.
Yeah.
Their ability to connect with kids is outstanding. And there's whole literatures about the importance of charismatic leaders in youth programming, and that can't be taught.
Yeah.
That can only be found. So they are playing a key role in mentoring the students. Yeah.
How does SunTrust fit into this? You mentioned they were a partner.
Yeah, so SunTrust, we want to do both with parents and kids financial literacy
Mhm.
training, because one of the biggest barriers to college is about the fear that it's unaffordable.
Mm-hmm.
And to be frank, at this day and age, it's not necessarily unaffordable. There's a lot of financial aid, and we wanted to bring in people who know a lot about finances to talk to them about that. So they're coming in and they're doing financial literacy and financial aid training.
So despite the branch here in Chestertown closing, they're still going to carry their end of the deal?
They are.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
which was great. We didn't find out about that closing branch until after,
Mhm.
but yep, they've said they are totally on board.
Okay. And what about Horizons? I know the college is going to be hosting, or at least hosted Horizons, and they work with the same demographic, the same age group. Is there any crossover between Horizons and the CPIP? Would you rather work with students who aren't in Horizons, since they're kind of getting that mentoring and training in that field, or do you want to get students who are also in Horizons? I mean, who exactly are you targeting?
Yeah, so I just actually had a meeting with Bob Parks this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were talking about some of this. It is possible that there will be overlap between the two programs, and that is excellent.
Right.
The more services we can get students involved in, the better. It is sort of a matter at this point of what people want to take advantage of. So they do a lot of mentoring. They don't do college preparation training for middle schoolers.
Mhm.
Their college preparation programming is for 9th graders. So in many ways, this program could sort of feed into,
Right.
maybe merge with the work that they're doing with
Mhm.
9th graders.
And is Kent Forward a partner?
Ken Ford is not a partner at this point for no reason other than we were scrambling to get the grant through.
Okay.
So if Ken Ford wanted to partner with us, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems as if that would be a worthy partnership because, I mean, you're hitting on things that Kent Ford was created to address. And I'm assuming this is going to be a program that you have to apply for a grant every single year so that initial $150,000 grant that you got, that's only good enough to run the program for 1 year.
For 1 year, exactly. So what I would prefer to do is to actually get a multi-year grant.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to do that, we need pilot data. And so what will likely happen is we'll run the program, hopefully, kind of year to year, the first couple of years, until we have the data to back up that it's working, and then we'll go after multi-year, multi-million-dollar funding.
What is your year, school year?
School year, yep.
Yeah.
So it
September
starts
1st
August.
to August 30th.
Yeah, it's actually August 29th is the launch party, and then it goes until July 1st is the end of the camp.
How many more applications do you still need?
30.
Now, if you don't meet the full 60, will that mean there'll be some grant money left over? I'm assuming it's a per pupil allocation, or?
We tabulated the funding as a per pupil. That
Right.
is not necessarily how the grant was stipulated.
I
So
see.
if it ends up being the case that we don't meet that 60 kid quota, which I'm
Mhm.
hoping that does not happen, there's certainly 60 kids out there who benefit from the
Mhm.
program, then that will be a conversation with the funding agency, and either they could say, well, just reallocate those funds,
Mhm.
do more stuff with those kids, or they might say, okay, well, let's knock down some of that money. I would imagine, given what it's been like to work with them so far, that their answer would likely be, okay, we'll just reallocate those funds.
Right.
Because they actually amazingly gave us more money than we asked for.
That's
which
rare.
is rare, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was great. So the Maryland Higher Education Commission has been fabulous to work with so far.
Good.
Thank you very much. This is really exciting.
Thank
and,
you.
If there's anything we can do to help you promote it and send kids your way, that's the.
Great.
and
Yeah,
send
if you
me-
know middle schoolers.
Send me an email about the opening celebration.
Okay.
If I can make it, I would love to. That's the kind of thing I actually enjoy doing,
Okay, that'll be great. That'll be food and music. Thanks so
All right.
much.
Thank
Can
you
you
very
actually
much.
just send that to everybody?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or
Send it to
Chris, you
Jen
can
and
forward
we
it
can
to us?
forward
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Okay, next we have a presentation on Riverfest. Jody Bartz. Board.
Thank you for having me. I brought some visuals that I could share with you. So Riverfest is a partnership between Chestertown River Arts and Washington College Center for Environment Society and Sandbox. And it's intended to do a couple of different things. Primarily, we're celebrating our town and the waterfront and the amazing excitement around the Arts and Entertainment District. And the great things that are going on in town right now. The festival is going to comprise of two parts. During the day, we're going to have festivities in Wilmer Park. There are going to be kayak and canoe races. There's going to be an artist's fair where artists will be showing their work. There are going to be family activities. Right now I have about 10,000 little balls for a bounce pit in my office. So we're going to have lots of fun things to do. There are going to be some exhibitors there from local nonprofits, and because of the mission of Center for Environment Society, there's also going to be a significant component of the day about being environmentally conscious. The highlight of the day is going to take place off the end of High Street. It's going to be a 25-foot tall solar-powered floating sculpture that is being designed by Vico von Voss. There's the artist rendering of what it's going to look like. We're really excited about how things are going with the sculpture. It's going to be really fun.
I saw that at your exhibit.
Oh, did you?
And you think you'll have it done by,
They actually have one of those already built.
oh, yeah.
Is it going to be permanent?
No, it's going to be temporary. With it could. It's going to be.
Good question,
The idea is that this will be a festival that we do every year. Before now, the college has done the Waterfront Festival, but it's been perceived so much as a college-only event, and they really want to bring in the community. That's just how we ended up getting involved. So the idea is this will be an annual event, and this sculpture will go to a resting place somewhere in the Stepney grounds,
It'll go where?
to the Stepney property.
Oh, okay. Good.
Did you hear that, Jay? Just checking. Just checking off all the boxes.
No, Sandbox had a location there in the.
Yes, that's Sandbox's. That's the Sandbox's idea. If Sandbox can't find a place for it, we're gonna get some.
You know, it'll be
chainsaws out.
permanent at Stepney? Or are you gonna bring it out every year when you have to?
Oh,
order?
no. Next year, the idea is that the Sandbox, now that they're involved, is going to start recruiting a new artist, a nationally known artist, to come in and fund the sculpture or whatever the art piece is on the water next year. So it kind of becomes an annual.
It's like Burning Man. Which is-
Yes, we actually have some of our artistic
Very
support is coming from Burning Man alumni. So they're the ones that are figuring out how to keep that thing from sinking, which, as you can imagine, is a concern.
But it's solar powered.
It is solar
What does it,
powered.
I mean, what does it need solar power for? It's a,
We're gonna light it up at sunset.
Oh,
It's
the
gonna, so
lighting
you'll be able to
is
see it
solar
from-
powered,
From
okay.
the
I
bridge,
was
you'll
gonna
be able
say-
to see it from High Street and from the
lovely.
park.
It's-
We're gonna have the packet boat out as, you know, for viewing, and it should be a really great day and a really great celebration of our town, the new Arts and Entertainment District, the new school year. So I'd be happy to take questions.
You want these back?
I can do this back.
We do have an exhibit area out in the hallway there, so.
I can bring you some more. Those are
So-
my good ones. I have to get some over
Well,
here.
there's
What-
a model at
Coincidentally,
River Arts.
I read
Well,
the
and the
press
visitors
release
center
today
probably should have a couple of them.
on my Maryland Eastern Shore,
Uh-huh.
myeasternshoremaryland.com, and it's a good article all about the River Fest, but it doesn't tell you what date it is.
Oh, really?
It has all the times, and it doesn't tell you what date it is, so- just so you know.
What's the average attendance you've noticed at these events?
Well, the college event in past years has had 1,000 people. We're expecting 2,000 to 3,000
Mm-hmm.
because of the breadth of things that we're offering in the park. We're really trying to make it an all-day thing. There's going to be music, there's going to be food,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things to keep people around.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you know, there's going to be around between 5 and 6 o'clock, we're going to do award ceremonies for the paddle races, and there's a painting competition that's going to be happening that day. And then we have a bagpiper who's actually going to lead the crowd, plan is to lead the crowd down Water Street or the walkway down to High Street for the rest of the event.
Now, is the bottom of High Street, I mean, are we being asked to,
Well, that's what I was,
That's, yes, there has been a permit request submitted to close High Street all starting at noon from Water Street down.
just that lowest part, yeah.
We already have the approval from the county for the landing. And then there was also, that also includes a request for
You have a date but no time.
It's all day.
from 12 to 9, 12 noon to 9 p.m.
Okay.
do you guys want me to read the request on the permit?
I mean, it's pretty much the same as what the college is the Center for the Environment's been doing with the water, what did they call that, water?
Like they haven't closed it to the High Street.
Right.
Yes, they usually did, yeah, they had pumpkins and everything down there, and
You want to read?
Let me read it. You are hereby given permission to, with regard to Riverfest, a joint event sponsored by River Arts, the Center for the Environment Society, and Sandbox on September 26, 2015, we request the following. Closure of High Street from Water Street to the Chester River Landing starting at 12 noon. Waiver of the open container ordinance from 12 until 9 p.m. for Wilmer Park, the High Street Landing, and the River Walk and Water Street areas. That's basically the request, and then additional request of town personnel. Could you place signage indicating that High Street will be closed? Would it be possible to have extra trash cans placed in the vicinity?
that's
Here's
right.
something else too. And I didn't bring the paperwork with me. When does it go into effect that you have to have recycling containers for every event that has over 200 people? Oh, not until October 1.
We've actually contracted with Infinity, so
Okay,
they're going to take
great.
care of that part
Great,
for us.
thank you.
So, I remember now, this open container request, we wanted clarification on that, because it says Wilmer Park,
Wilmer Park, the High Street Landing, and the River Walk and Water Street areas.
so somebody could buy a beer over in Wilmer Park, or wherever you're gonna be selling, and walk all the way along Water Street and down around by the river, over to the lower part of High Street. Is that all gonna be an open container area, the whole thing?
Well, I mean, we could certainly put restrictions on the Water Street. The only time that we're foreseeing people really traveling that corridor is when we close down the park and the water activities, because we want everybody off the water by 6.
Where are you selling it?
We're going to be selling in Wilmer Park, and we'll have a separate selling station that will open between 5 and 6 o'clock at High Street. So we'll not be crossing over the
I would
sales.
imagine they would be welcome back. If you only sold it in one location, then they'd probably stay close by.
Oh.
On the, you said it's 12 to 9, correct?
Mm-hmm.
On the website, on the Town of Chestertown website, it says 12 to 7:30
Okay.
p.m.
I'll
Just,
have to check that,
yeah.
yeah.
Under the events calendar.
That's because that's not correct.
Mhm.
The actual ceremony for the lighting is gonna happen at 7:30.
Okay.
So we will definitely not be done by 7:30.
Mhm.
All right, well, how do we feel about the permit?
Let's do it.
Fine.
Okay. Do
Are
we
you
get a
just gonna
motion?
put, barrels or something across the end of the foot of High Street to close it from water to the water?
Mhm.
From
Yes.
Water Street to the water?
Yes. And there's also gonna be like a future of the town display that CES putting together. We're hoping to have a history walk between, so we're gonna do all kinds of things to keep people corralled in the areas we want them to stay.
Yeah, yeah. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the permit?
I'll make a motion to approve the permit for the River Fest on September 26th from 12 noon till 9 p.m.
Second.
Is there a second?
She seconded it.
Mhm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, get your permit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, this is really exciting. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
You can have your posters if you want to.
Okay, next we have our police report, Chief Adrian Baker.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I might mention that Emergency Services has already had one meeting in reference to the River Fest, and we'll have another one or two,
Okay.
just in anticipation that 2,000 or 3,000 do show up. We need to be
Right.
prepared for it. I'd like to present the monthly report for July 2015, breaking down our hours. We had 50 for administration, that was 4%. Our criminal investigations were 2 at 1%, accident 1 at 1%, vehicle patrol 644 at 48%, foot patrol 158 at 12%, training 21 at 2%, court 34 at 3%, and overtime 111, which was 8%. Breaking down the overtime hours, a special detail was 6%, shift coverage was 54%, 29 was court, and
Green.
what's the last,
What is that?
extended investigation was 11.
What is that? It's the,
Extended.
the green is
Yes.
extended?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I have the wrong color.
Okay.
I was having a little trouble with my computer, and I apologize for that.
Something
Got
with
the wrong
slice
color.
6. Yep.
Yes. We had 18 adult arrests, breaking down to 40 separate charges, and that was 9 bad checks, 7 assaults, 5 FOAs, 5 traffic, 4 theft, 3 each for disorderly and DWI, and 1 each for MDOP, peace order violation, reckless endangerment, and trespassing. We had no juvenile arrests. Our reported offenses, part 1, were 2. We cleared 1 by exception and 1 by arrest. Our part 2 offenses were 13. We cleared 11 by arrest and 2 by exception. Motor vehicle citations issued were 24. Warnings were 245, and our red speed was 153.
Can I ask a question?
Sir, yes, sir.
That seems really low, 153.
Yes, sir, and I was just
Yes.
going to...
Was somebody broke down or was it?
Well, I was going to address that. Absolutely and literally, yes. It was repaired or under repair or disrepair for 2 weeks. So I would like to say that everyone complied, but that
Yeah,
is not
I-
the case.
It's usually over 400.
Well,
Yeah.
it is typically near 400, yes, ma'am, but you're observant to catch that. It was because it was down, and it is back up now. Our percent of calls with Ward 1 having 3%, Ward 2 having 45, Ward 3, 22, and Ward 4, 21. And our busiest time was 1,500 to 1,600, which is 3 to 4 in the afternoon. And our busiest days of the week were Wednesday and Saturday. And I would like to bring to your attention that we did have one officer leave our agency for another. He went from Chestertown to Chevy Chase. His name was Officer Perper, and it was unfortunately it was only about a year ago that I introduced him to you. For a $10,000 raise, he went elsewhere. And then again, I would like take the opportunity to remind people to be mindful of your residence, keep your windows and doors locked. We haven't had anything most recently, but let's not create an opportunity for someone to enter your home when you don't want them there. And if you do see any suspicious activity, please call us.
I just want to make a comment on your activity report.
Yes, sir.
I think it's great that you had 12% foot patrol. Anytime you get over 10%, it makes me happy. I'm glad to see
I
people.
appreciate this.
And we only had 8% overtime, which
Yes, sir.
is 2 or 3% less than we normally have
Yes,
too.
sir.
So
That-
both of those things are moving in the right direction.
Appreciate that, sir.
I have a question for you,
Yes, ma'am.
Chief. At our last meeting 2 weeks ago, we promised the residents off of Hack Drive that we were gonna put the speed
Yes, ma'am.
board there, and it has not appeared. And
Well, ma'am,
it's
I'll
2
be
weeks gone
perfectly
by.
honest with you. I gave that instruction and it ended up on Conley Drive, which we don't have a speed problem there because it's
No.
a dead end. So
I was
it's not
by
here
there
today.
today.
So
Well, I was by there this
Yeah,
afternoon,
okay.
it wasn't there.
It's not on Hack Drive, yes, ma'am. So we'll gather those stats and have it at the next meeting.
Because we told them we were gonna run the test for 2 weeks. It's
Mhm.
already 2 weeks have gone by,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Well, I want to thank you and the officers for Saturday night.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think, I was wondering, when you said that the speed camera was down,
Mhm.
I thought I saw a county car sitting at Todd's with an officer in it. I mean, you're only going 30 miles an hour. And I thought to myself, I wonder if they're double dipping
Oh,
here.
I don't know.
You know, because it's right across from the
Mhm.
speed
Oh my
camera.
gosh, I never thought of that.
I know, I never thought about it either, but I was.
You could get a town ticket and a
going out
county
Floyd
ticket.
Neck Road.
That
So,
would be
that was just happened to be a
Yeah.
coincidence.
Yeah.
And thank you for, and the officer Saturday morning for directing the tour bus down at the end of High Street.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
didn't want it to get down there and couldn't get back, so,
No problem.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Baker. Next we have the town manager's report. Bill Ingersoll obviously is not here, but there was one item
Mhm.
that came up, which is a request from an organization called Green Street Housing, which is doing a renovation project off of Mortneck Road, I believe.
Mhm.
Is that you
Yes.
guys? That's me. Can you come tell us about the project and what you requested?
My name's Tom Aid. I'm with Green Street Housing. We operate out of Salisbury, Maryland. We're a mid-Atlantic focused affordable housing developer. Our primary focus is the acquisition and renovation, preservation of rural affordable housing. We're in town. We are under contract to purchase Chestertown Cove. You guys know it well, I'm sure, on Mortneck. Built in the early 80s, mid 80s. It's been serving the tenants well, but it's aged. So at this stage of the life cycle, we look to the resources available to preserve the asset, kind of reset its useful life. So we will be in conjunction with TM Associates, who's currently the owner and manager. The management won't change. We're going to be applying to the Department of Housing and Community Development to acquire it and renovate it using the low-income housing tax credit program. In the early 90s, tax credits were utilized to facilitate the acquisition of the project and a very mild rehab. Today, the low-income housing tax credit tends to spur a much more significant renovation when you're bringing it through what they call the 9% or the competitive funding programs. So September 8th is the application date to the department, and we'll be requesting both state resources in the form of a loan and in the form of low-income housing tax credits. The scope of work that we intend to pursue is going to be a gut rehab. We'll be taking it down to the studs. We'll be really looking at all of the systems, replacing with everything with current code, current building expectations. We'll be meeting Energy Star certifications. We'll be meeting the current 2015 code. We'll be going after the Enterprise Green Building Certification Program among other things, but that includes energy efficient windows, appliances, insulation envelope. Everything is really looked at holistically, including exterior lighting and stuff along those lines. We'll be looking to change the interiors of some of the units. We'll be really looking at function and space. We won't be greatly expanding anything, but what you now walk into a tight galley kitchen, you'll be walking into something that's a little bit not luxury. The sizes could never permit what we would consider luxury, but certainly a little bit more open and spacious, and the bedrooms will be looked at to make sure they conform with the department's standards for today. The rental subsidies that are in place, as you guys may know, it utilizes and benefits from subsidies from the USDA, from the Rural Development Program, and many of the tenants benefit from rental assistance, which is a subsidy program for their rents. Those will all remain in place. The tenants that live there now will be encouraged to stay.
How does that work?
During the course of the renovation, so we'll facilitate a relocation plan, and that relocation plan won't be a displacement plan. It'll only be temporary. So the tenants, one building at a time, will seek off-site rentals for a period of construction, which we don't expect to be for the whole project to last longer than a year. But we will go from building to building, and we'll relocate tenants either on-site in available units or off-site in units that we acquire. But we'll go in and we'll facilitate the rehab, and then we'll move the tenants back in.
What's your occupancy now?
We're just under 100%.
So where are you going to move the people to? Are they going to stay in Kent County?
Most desirable would be that we find similar living situation, or comparable space for the tenants in Chestertown during the course of the rehab. The tenants won't be out of their apartments for more than 3 months.
And you're still going to subsidize the rent for the same amount?
When they move back in?
No, when you replace.
While we temporarily
Right.
relocate them. So, it's not something that the tenants benefit by having a nice new apartment, but it's not necessarily the tenant's choice to do it. So one thing that's really important, both by law and by preference, is to cover all of the cost of the tenants moving. So if it requires us to say get an apartment across the street, we'll be renting that in a corporate lease arrangement, and our tenant will move there for 3 months, and then we'll move them back.
For the same amount of rent that they're paying now?
Correct.
Okay, when they move back, are their rents going to be the same as when they left?
So the tenants in a subsidized living environment, they're not impacted by any rent increases. If there's not necessarily going to be rent increases, but their rent is 30% of their income because of the subsidy.
Right.
So they won't be expected to pay more than 30% of their income to remain.
So, I mean, this has all been explained to them, and you're going to try your very best to keep them as close to home as possible because of the access
Absolutely.
of walking to
Absolutely.
Kent Plaza, and that's
Schools.
that's a consideration right there. There is county ride, but they are in walking distance of Kent Plaza, and if they want to go up to Washington Square.
Yeah, so we'll certainly do our due diligence to do our best to keep things very convenient. Most of the time, while we may plan for off-site in the early stages, and we're likely, we could be as much as 1.5 years out from even beginning construction, just based on the financing timelines and things of that nature. It could be that those tenants that are most impacted and need the convenience of what's very close, we are able to keep them on the property or in the closest property that we can acquire the units.
And I'm sorry if you said this, but how long is the project expected to take? How long would they be displaced?
So there's 4 buildings, primarily 4 buildings, 4 8-unit buildings. One is actually a strip of 16 units, but the balance of them are 8. And we look at them as 4, and it'll take approximately 2 to 3 months per building. So we're probably in that 9 months to a year, depending on how the scope builds in.
Aren't they brick already?
No, they are,
They're-
they're T111 wrapped with
Okay.
vinyl,
Okay.
and some painted T111.
Okay, because it's been quite a while, but I have been
Yeah, so,
in some, so you just have one main room, the kitchen area, bathroom, and a bedroom.
yeah, and so there's 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom apartments there. And one thing that we'll be doing, one of the things that the department focuses on is tenant services, social services. So right now, there's a very small office, and there's part-time staff. What we'll be doing is, we won't be necessarily increasing staff presence, but we'll be creating a community room, a central laundry area. Right now, the laundry is in the back corridor, in a kind of a dark hallway, in each building, dirty and could stand to be refreshed. But what we'll do is in our community building renovation, we'll add a central laundry facility. So just a quick.
Is that, yeah, that's what
So
I thought it was.
here's
Yeah.
what you've got, the red painted T111 and the siding. This is that's what we're proposing to do.
Okay.
Nice.
Now they
So
wanna
could
just-
you go over your specific
Yeah,
monetary requests from the town?
absolutely. So we've spent some time talking about this project with Bill, and he suggested we make a request to see if the council would be interested in supporting from a monetary standpoint. In the scope of the 9% competitive financing, basically you have quantifiable measures that are going to get you points that will make you score higher than your competitors. And essentially, we expect 25 applications for which 11 to 13 projects will be financed in the state. And we want to do everything to enhance our position and increase our score. There's the dollar signs that may get our points higher, and then there's also that affirmed commitment on behalf of the locality that might let somebody reviewing may say, well, they clearly have more support, and for that we might interpret something different during the course of their review. In our dialogue with Bill, we've got in aggregate an expectation of nearly $59,000 in fees, both building fees, inspection fees, water sewer hookup fees, and sprinkler fees. What I'm coming to you guys to ask for a waiver of any or all of those fees. A number like $58,000 is enough to push us into that next point where we're able to leverage sources that are outside of the agency's control.
So what you're saying is this project hasn't been, I guess, approved or funded yet?
Absolutely. The way that our world of development works is that we first seek projects that meet the geographic and priority criteria of the financing agency. Chestertown, in this section of Chestertown, happens to have had a statistical change that created what's called a qualified census tract. It's a HUD-defined tract, and that makes it optimal for the priorities of DHCD. So what we do is we apply, along with all of our competitors, to the state for their competitive round, which is September 8th. They do one competitive round each year. And like I said, they tend to finance between 10 and 15 projects and tend to get between 20 and 30 applications. So we'll go and we'll apply in September. We'll find out in December if we have received an award of financing. At that point, we're usually about a year in the planning process between finalizing plans and specifications, any kind of site planning that needs to be done, and wrapping up our financing and going through the underwriting process with the agency.
I looked at those fees and what you're asking us to waive, and you're in business, and you know what business, well, we're in business too. Our business comes from fees and taxes and so forth. and it'd be nice to waive everybody's tax bill or everybody's utility bill, but then we couldn't provide the police services or the town fix the roads or do anything else. So we need a certain amount of income. I live in a rather old neighborhood, and most of my neighbors are on fixed income. I wouldn't say they're low income. I would say moderate. But if they were going to do some reconstruction and so forth, we wouldn't waive anything for them. So, yeah, in essence, they're making up for what we're waiving for you. I'm not saying I won't go along with something there, but to waive all those fees would just be not with keeping very frugal way of running a government, because we need money too. I mean, we don't draw it out of the air. We draw it from everybody who lives in Chestertown. So,
What other ways can we make ourselves more competitive?
Well, short of creating bus stops and changing bus routes, I'm not so sure that there's much more that we can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're very lucky to be sitting in the right spot and being in revitalization, having a revitalization plan. There's many things that really just stack the deck, and so we think that this project is going to be a very high scorer. And I don't want to stand here and say that without your support it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But I can say that with your support, we do stand to have that gray area turned in our favor, and it doesn't, in my opinion, have to be for everything that's on this list.
yeah. Well, I'll point out one thing: the inspection fees. We don't make money on that. We have private enterprise do our inspections, so
We have to pay them.
we're just a turnaround. They pay, you pay us, and we pay him. So,
Sure.
or him. Well, it's usually the same guy that comes up here, but so that would be impossible to waive, because we'd actually really go in the hole. But I think maybe we could do something, but I'm not looking for waiving all your fees. I know that would be
I wish
nice.
Bob Sipes were still here to
Oh.
explain the sewer
He had a-
hookup, because we have some guidance that there are two extra, I don't quite understand about the sewer, the water and sewer hookup fees. I mean, there are presumably already hookups there. Are there some new ones going in?
Yeah, so what you can expect in terms of perhaps EDUs, I don't know the exact number, but what we will be doing is right now each building has a laundry. So it has a washer in there and perhaps a fixture for a wash
Mhm.
sink. And what we're doing is we're reconfiguring some of the community space and creating more community space, which would include, you know, 2 bathrooms required for simply assembly.
Oh.
It would have a kitchenette for hosting activities, and it would have a central laundry, which would include 4 hookups. So there's some level of credits that would flow back and forth, but it would be a net add.
So the 16,000 is all the new hookups?
Yes.
2 new, okay.
Well, in Bill's email, he suggested that if we consider waiving the building
Right.
permit, since it's already built,
Yeah,
but it needs to be inspected,
Right.
and then,
so.
and the sprinkler fees, I
What do you
just,
issue the permit fees for everything that's add-on now?
Well, they're separate, and when you do, since this would be a rebuild and a renovation, the fees fall a little bit differently. And we charge at a reduced rate for, which I think that's the fee that Bill figured. It's usually, for MDIA inspections, they're 70% because it doesn't have to check for footers and things like that. And then the town also, because there's already some substantial things in place, we don't charge as much for rehabilitation.
oh, is a new construction.
Correct.
So is that already reflected in the cost?
It is. Mhm. Those will be the fees of a substantial rehabilitation.
Okay. And not a new construction?
Correct.
And the sprinkler fees, can somebody tell me about those?
Sprinkler fees are based on, probably because this is an apartment, it's based on the number of units. And I'm not sure if the building is sprinklered now.
It's not.
It's not.
No,
And it
so
has
we
to be
It has
now.
to be.
Yeah,
Now it must be.
And there's a fee.
So those fees are, they're similar to water and sewer hookup fees, but it's only a certain amount of that fee because the line's already there. It's more of an addition to accommodate the sprinkler. It's usually about $700 per unit is what it comes to, but because this is several buildings, it may be broken down differently according to the building size.
So we're looking at maybe, you said 740, yeah. Well, how do we proceed? I mean, we have advice from Bill about the inspection fees and the building fees, and possibly waiving, I guess it would be half of the water and sewer fees. I don't know what to think about the sprinkler fees.
Do you expect your tax base to go up so we can charge a little more taxes on the thing?
Gosh, I hope not.
Well, presumably the buildings would be reassessed.
It would absolutely be subject to some amount of reassessment.
Now-
We're adding space, I
Well,
think that's pretty
You
clear.
need your answer when, tonight?
My application's due September 8th, so to the extent that anything could come before then, I'd love to leave with an answer, but really, I can certainly respect that it can't be given if that's, that is the case.
I'm sorry that Mr. Ingersoll isn't here because he's really our expert on these type of items, and while we have the final word, it certainly would be helpful if we could consult with him before we. I know I got his email too, but I didn't.
We only got it today.
Is this your only project that you're looking at now?
Ever?
Now?
No,
I mean,
we're always
where are
working
the
on many
other
other
ones?
projects. Edgewood, Cambridge, Lexington Park.
So you've
We're under
got
construction in Dover and
bigger
in
counties than PG County, and then
Edgewood, Hartford.
it's Anne Arundel.
So
It's,
all-
just south of Aberdeen.
Oh, okay, on that side of the bridge. PG County definitely has more money than we have.
Yeah.
What did they do for you?
We're likely, we'll find out Friday, but we've asked for $100,000 from Hartford County from their CDBG program. The bigger counties also have
How
home
bigger?
funds and CDBG funds that they can pass through for projects just like this.
Mhm. And then Cambridge.
So far, Cambridge isn't doing anything. They're not opposing the project.
I'd be reticent to approve anything definitively monetarily this evening. I don't know if a letter of support from the town would help. I think I'd be personally happy to give you a letter saying that we endorse the project conceptually. I think what I would prefer is if we could maybe correspond with Bill electronically. I think if we're gonna waive any of these fees, I think the most likely fee would be the building fee because you're basically gutting the interior of an already existing building.
Right.
But I do agree with Marty.
I understand why I understand why you want us to waive and so forth, but I have problems with,
Yeah.
you know, my neighbor says, well, wait a minute, you waived for those apartments up there, how come I gotta pay?
I would say,
Because the county.
I would say for one thing, we're kind of a unique community in that almost half our town is in the nonprofit sector, so we don't get property tax for 45% of the town, so our budget is really, really tight. Not that other small towns aren't as tight as us, but, I think it sets a challenging precedent for us for waiving fees because it's a certain type of project and, everybody that's building something new is gonna want the same thing.
Every waiver we do squeezes our taxpayers that much more, so, and that bothers me. Mainly because I'm a taxpayer too, so.
I think it's a great project and I support it, I just don't know that we have basically 60 grand in waiver of fees to support it. I don't see that in our bottom line.
But it sounds like potentially waiving the building permits is
Yeah,
something.
and I would
that-
like to further, I just got back from vacation at 10 o'clock last night, so this is
Yeah, that's how I feel. I didn't get mine till today,
it's a
so.
tough re-entry, but I would like to talk to Bill a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Would have been good if we'd had more notice,
Well, I appreciate you guys
Thank
hearing
you
me
very
out,
much.
and
Yeah,
I
it
do look
sounds like
forward
a
to your
great
feedback.
project. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, that brings us to the mayor's report. Some interesting things here. I've got a permit request from Body by Mike. Michael Hubbard, Health and Fitness. Mr. Hubbard, Mike, would like to have a cardio fitness event at Fountain Park on Saturday, August 29th, 2015, to help spread the word of the importance of health and fitness through a fun fitness, and he's calling this event Grooversize. Again, this is Saturday, August 29th, 2015. He's proposing to do this event from 1 to 3 p.m. in Fountain Park for free. You'll basically have free bottled water and fruit available, and he will be doing Zumba, Bakwa, which I've never heard of that, and Grooversize.
Well, maybe they're doing
How much
aquatics in
park
the.
is he gonna take up, because
I
there's
don't know, I just got here at
still
10 o'clock last night.
Right.
artisans and farmers
At 1
kinda
o'clock?
hanging around, you know.
This was a little bit of a question that we had in a little bit of a gray area, because typically in the park, when we allow somebody there, it's a nonprofit or somebody, you know, like a wedding ceremony or something like this. This gentleman, although it's not his business,
Kinda
this is his field of expertise, so it is precedent setting. We discussed doing it at Wilmer Park, because we've had the college, one of the girls at the college likes to do Zumba there under the little pavilion, and that's always worked out well. So we really kind of brought this to you because of that reason, that this is his business. And it is, there are still some people in the farmer's market there.
So
But he
not
wanted the
only-
exposure of the fountain
Not
park.
only that, when's concert series start?
It's,
Because
there isn't
this is
there's not one
the
that
stage-
weekend, we
okay,
checked.
because the
Mhm.
stage takes up a lot
But what
of
if you did it
space.
from 2 to 4?
Where does Mike usually hang out?
I'm sorry?
Where does Mike usually hang out? What's
I
he,
don't know that I think that he works at a
does he
fitness
fold his
center.
business out of a suitcase or something?
No, he works for a larger fitness center. Excuse me 1 second.
Okay, guys,
I don't
how do we
care.
feel about Grooversize? It's a big one, come on.
Let him rent what's that, the pavilion down from Washington College, and you can put it on, show on there. I don't wanna turn the fountain park into a business
Commercial
expo.
thing,
It's not
no.
my problem, even though I'm all for physical fitness, but.
Okay, but aren't the farmers selling their stuff?
Yeah, there's hangover, you know,
Till what?
afternoon.
No, I'm saying, if we're not turning Fountain Park into a business area, we've already
Oh,
got
yeah, it is a
people
business
selling their
area.
stuff for all morning long.
Right. How many people is he expecting? You don't know.
Thousands.
But even,
2 to
I don't even think
5,000.
that he
Yeah.
would know because it's free.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering how many he's gonna get too from 1 to 3 on a Saturday, 'cause
Yeah, I
it
think
clears
he's
out
just
pretty
hoping
bad
to
after
kind
12
of,
o'clock.
people will join in
I mean, it
and
would
show
be
up.
fun, you know?
Oh, I think
'cause
so.
people-
Are you gonna go?
And you can't.
I would pay to see
I'll
that.
watch.
$20 right now if you go to Grooversize.
It depends on whether it's high impact or low impact.
Maybe if it's a hot
But
day.
anyway, it might be fun, and you'll catch people, you know, that have been hanging around, so.
So you're in favor of the permit request?
Sure, why not?
I just wished I knew more about Mike.
Yeah, so do I. And what if somebody gets hurt?
Is he local?
Yes, he is Chestertown guy.
He's
Oh, he is a
not,
local person? Oh, okay, that
Oh.
makes me feel a little better.
Do they have to sign waivers?
You know
to-
him? You know him?
Not-
I don't know.
This is the whole
Yeah.
thing, we typically do this, so I don't
Does
know.
he get people to sign waivers?
It says right here, the mayor and council will not be responsible for any accident resulting from this permit. So if you go and pull your groin muscle severely,
Thank you.
we're not liable
Fall
for
flat
that.
on my face. Oh, Lord.
So you've got some information we don't have, I guess. You have an email or?
No.
But I mean, if they already do Zumba out in the park, why not just put this out, or in Wilmer Park, excuse me, why not put this out in Wilmer Park as well?
I did
Was he
say
receptive?
that it was not real, he really wanted to, I think he wanted the exposure of Fountain Park.
least he doesn't wanna close the streets.
No, he
No.
doesn't.
And then we have another, that's,
I mean, do you see this being precedent setting?
That's what has me worried.
well, if it gets too big, go to Wilmer Park.
This isn't time, so this is
Why don't
not
we,
time
why
sensitive.
why don't we suggest he goes to Wilmer
August
Park?
29th.
To him, it is
Finn?
very
August
time
29th.
sensitive because he wants to be able to advertise.
So, but is he gonna be promoting his own business? I'm
Well,
not, I'm not
that's the-
behind that. I mean, if we tell him he can't,
He's welcome in Bailey Park.
And say, we,
Yeah, send him up the dog park.
yeah, I mean, we asked him if this was his business, and he said, no, this is not my
Exercise.
business, but this is my line of, it's his line of work, but it's not his own business.
And it's not, what's Fitch,
Eric.
No,
he's moving,
but that's a good comparison. I
moving
mean, how
back
would you
to
feel
Canada.
about something like that? Or someone from, a Planet Fitness that would wanna come in and do something, it's,
I mean, if it's really just all about the health and the physical exercise, and he's not advertising his own gym or, passing out flyers for his own,
Come
Business.
on. You think
And-
he's not?
but, well, that's what I'm,
see, this is
Same.
why people need to come into the town meeting.
right.
To talk about what they wanna do. I think we talked
We
about
can't
this
second guess
like a
this.
couple
Yeah, I
meetings
think that's the,
ago.
let Mike show up here and tell us.
But our next meeting is after his event.
Well,
Too bad, he should have come here a month before.
Wait, when is this? September?
August,
August 29th.
August 29th. It's probably gonna be the hottest Saturday in the whole summer.
Well, he'll have a hard time
Right.
showing
I don't
up.
What I'm hearing is a sense,
I
I
don't
feel
think-
like we're wary of the
Yep.
Riverside
I
Park.
think we are.
So
But it would be okay if the park's open for Wilmer Park to
I would
prove it
say
to you,
yes.
like you have
Because
before.
there's a precedent.
Not him, but other people.
Wilmer Park is great.
Oh,
you
God.
have to call it
Bailey Park, or
Is it
Gateway
Riverside?
Park. We
All
have
right,
the
I'm
key
moving-
and he
I'm
doesn't
moving
unlock.
Kent County Medical Adult Daycare is having an open house to celebrate
tooth.
National Adult Daycare Month, Friday, September 25th, from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Kent County Health Department.
23.
Not sure where that is. It's at 125 South Lynchburg Street, first floor, Chestertown, Maryland.
What
And
date
learn
did
about
you
their
s-
services to adults needing medical supervision.
What date did you say?
I said Friday, September 25th, from 1 to 4 p.m. I'm reading right from this flyer.
Good, we have a typo on
Okay,
our
that's-
agenda.
Okay.
September 2nd.
Another event that's coming up, and these guys have come talk to us before, last year, I remember. The Walk to End Alzheimer's will be Saturday, October 10th. Registration is at 9 o'clock. The walk starts at 10 from Wilmer Park in Chestertown, Maryland. Start a team. The number is 1-800-272-3900 if you're interested in participating.
I think they walk on our rails to trails,
I believe they do.
Yeah.
It's a great use of the
Might have been somebody from the college last year came in. Seemed like a very nice young lady.
It is a nice group.
And my last item is kind of important. It's, we are down, the committee has pared down applicants to 3 finalists for the Arts and Entertainment District Manager, which I believe we were calling our Marketing and Economic Development Officer. So we need, kind of like when we did with our accountant, to have an executive session to interview
that
the
work
3 finalists. So we need to set a date for
How
that.
much time you want to give them?
30 minutes each.
At most, yeah.
I'd say 20 to 30
20 to
minutes.
30 minutes, yeah.
If there's 3 of them, we give them each 20 minutes, that's an hour. So we start an hour early or start
So
at,
you're gonna start an hour before September 8th meeting?
Well,
Don't we have the
we
commissioners
have
coming in?
the commissioners
Yeah.
at 5 o'clock.
Is that set?
I don't know, and their meeting is on Tuesday at 6.
Oh, that's right.
And the reason why our meeting's on the 8th is because the 7th is a holiday.
What's the time frame? I mean, can we wait until the 8th, or does it need to be before then?
I think it should be before
Sam,
that. I
are
almost
you-
feel like we need a special, can we do it
I think
independently?
that's, yes, but we would have to schedule it because I'll have to advertise and then we'll have to go into executive session.
Okay.
The way
That would
it needs to
probably-
be.
it bothers me having those because it costs money, but this is a worthwhile thing
Yeah.
to do, so. I mean, we don't wanna be, if we do it on that same night we're having the commissioners, we're gonna be here for 5 or 6 hours.
Mhm.
We have to do it before September 14th,
Why is that?
because that's,
The hiring date?
yeah, well, no, that's when I'm pretty much just out of town for work.
Okay.
Um,
How about the 31st
fine with me.
Of what?
of July?
Of August.
What time?
No. What day is that, a Friday?
It's a
Monday.
That's Labor Day though, isn't it?
No.
No, Labor Day is
7th.
the 7th.
Oh, that seems reasonable.
How about 7th?
Fine.
What's wrong with the 31st?
Nothing. So 7th.
Here.
The 7th is Labor Day.
No, the 31st
The
at 7.
31st.
Oh, the
7 p.m.
31st at 7, okay, sorry.
Okay. The other thing apparently that we still need to resolve is when we're gonna meet with the commissioners.
Bill has been in contact with, I don't know if it was with Sandra or with one of the county commissioners, and there's back and forth on still trying to set a date. I'm sorry, but I was as far, people are out of town and
I get a feeling they're a little reluctant to be.
I think what we're gonna need to
Seriously,
do with
say
that
right.
is probably electronically send them 2 or 3 dates and see when they can do it.
okay.
And so I think that's what, let's just say that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, we've been dragging this on for, I know,
Madness about-
6 or 8 years, so.
What's another couple of weeks? Okay, that ends the mayor's report. Let's start with Liz Cruz.
I don't think I have anything to report from the first ward.
Liz Gross went first last time, but of course, that's all right.
I didn't say anything.
No, I'm just kidding you, Liz, go ahead.
I'm done.
You're done?
Yeah.
Good gosh.
There's a new bench in Wilmer Park that was dedicated by Dr. and Mrs. Robert Jones in memory of their son Mikey. And this was unveiled on August 8th. And Bill isn't here. I just want to thank him and for helping to coordinate putting the bench in and the concrete pad that it's on and the plaque that commemorates Mikey. And it's the bench that's closest to the entrance in to the pavilion. And then Saturday we had a 45 people from the Maryland National Park Commission here. They were a little late getting here because the air conditioner broke in the bus. And I was in touch with Dee Massey, who organized the bus trip. And they went to the farmer's market, they went for a ride on the packet, and then they went through 2 of the houses. And then there was confusion because they thought that Legacy Days started at 3, when it actually started at 5. And the parade was supposed to start at 5, but it didn't start until later. But anyway, they enjoyed their trip. And next time, she said they had to leave because they were going to have dinner down on Kent Island. And I thought if they come Legacy Day next time, we have food and music and everything. She said they might leave later, you know, come later and stay later. And then leading into that, I don't know how many people here were for Legacy Day. Steve, did you figure out how many? Because downtown was packed.
Bigger than last year's all.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. It was a lot bigger than last year, and really, really neat. Good food, good music, and so
I could hear it all the way over at Heron Point.
it was a nice turnout. It really was.
It was good.
Brett.
So Washington Park will be having their first annual Community Day on Saturday, September the 5th. This is just a way for the neighborhood of Washington Park to get together, meet and greet, have some fun. Mayor, they requested your presence. They would love for you to be there and say hi.
What time?
I don't have a time yet, just the 5th so far. I'm going to be meeting with them soon to talk more about it. And as I was driving home from work today, I saw that SHA was finishing up weeding the roundabout. So we've gotten a lot of complaints about that. So it looks like they're finally taking action.
Placing any dead plants?
I'm not sure, but it looks substantially better. Much better.
It was pretty bad.
It was bad. It was bad. And then, let's see, last week we had the first Chestertown Marketing Committee meeting, and pretty successful, but of course, you know, the reason why I created the group was to really get down to the bottom of identifying who we are as a town and how do we market that to people to get them excited about visiting and spending some money here in Chestertown. So that was the overarching conversation, but we're very much so looking forward to working with the new A&E district manager. And then also, have we ever worked with interns from Washington College in the past, Jen?
Not here in town hall. We've had interns in the town office, not from Washington College, just local high school kids. But
Okay. Because that's one thing where we're drafting up a lot of different things, of course, for the A&E district manager to do, but also some things that would probably be really good for internships or interns to do for development and things like that. So that's just going to be an ongoing conversation, but we'll make sure that we have a clear list of responsibilities and tasks and things like that, and then hopefully we can start working with some students.
Great. There were interns at one time over at the visitor center. When I think it was Nancy Toy used to work for the college years ago, and that kind of fizzled out. But they were great.
Good. Good. Glad to hear it. That's all I have.
All right, Marty.
All right. Well, first I want to mention the fire at Washington College. It's a shame, but it's my understanding that the college is going to go on. They've got people that have backed up. They didn't lose any information, and they plan on operating as they had before. But it's a loss of location for 24 employees, and so someone's going to be, I think they're moving 3 in your office, Sam.
We're taking on at least one, I know.
I'm just kidding, but it is a loss. That building's been improved the last few years, and then to have it burnt like that, I hope that it gets built back and is an asset to the community. The new benches for the Bailey Park, a walking trail, and the dog park are in. This should finish our benches for my lifetime anyway, because I think we'll be pretty well benched out. There's one every 1/10 of a mile on the walking trail, and we'll have like 8 or 10 in the dog. But there's still standing room only sometime when you go there, so it's working out well. And finally, last meeting I indicated that I was not going to, maybe I wasn't quite clear as to when I would make up my mind whether I'm going to run for re-election or not. And so I'm going to clear it up tonight. I'm going to announce at the next meeting whether I'm going to or not. That gives 60 days, which is plenty long enough for any kind of election process. And if we have somebody who files against me, I hope there's a chance to debate the issues. I'm certainly willing to debate any vote that I ever had in the council and see what their problem with what they think the council in the 4th Ward should be run like. So I will, if I run again, and that I will make that announcement on the next meeting, because I want the council people to know first off what I'm going to do, and that's it.
Thanks, Marty. Okay, we had no requests from the public to be on the agenda tonight. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? A massive audience. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned, Jen.
All right.
Great job.
Chris, the one thing